Chronicles of Earth 9 presents the Forsaken Adventures of Eugerice, the Priest. Welcome to World of Warcraft. I'm Agamemnon. I'm your host through today's adventure. I'll be your narrator slash voice over role-playing actor. Here we're seeing the creation of the greatest priest who ever lived, Eugerice, the Forsaken. That's the story's named after Eugerice. Eugerice actually was, we had made a previous character of this, and I didn't record it, and I really wanted to record it since we were beginning the adventure, and that was the name that was randomly generated, so I kept it because I like it. It's a real pretty name. And I'm just remaking the character. This is the day that we recorded it. This was the third attempt at doing the opening sequence. Today's video was recorded on the 31st of December 2020. Been recording about an hour of footage every day since this actual recording was about 2 hours. And I reduced it to make each episode under an hour. I've cut this down into multiple parts. I think it's only going to be a two-parter, but it may end up a three-part. So. We're going to start her off in death now, and if you're unfamiliar with World of Warcraft, or this is new to you, getting this for the first time, we're starting into the lore right after the Lich King has been defeated. And we're going to be producing another series which is classical based, so it goes through all the early history between Warcraft 3 and what becomes World of Warcraft. We're going to make a Warcraft 3 adventure, but I started it with this one first. So we're gonna play the cinematic for those that aren't familiar. I don't think it'll be copyright striked, but we'll have to see. But we're gonna play the cinematic so that everybody's up to speed. I won't talk through it, so we can enjoy it together. So this is where we are in the lore. World of Warcraft, the Cataclysm. In my research, I locked in on this. Is supposed to be about 3 years after Arthur's dead, and this is after Sylvanas. There's a short story where Sylvanas goes off and throws herself off the ice-crowned citadel, and that precedes this. It's a novel, and this is telling the Forsaken side before we meet up with Sylvanas in the beginning. She comes back and she discovers that Garrosh has been put on the throne, or war chief now, and he's trying to make war, and that's where we'll meet up her. But in the meantime, we're going to go through our introductory lore here and go through our short history of the character. Where possible, I'm going to do the dialogue for the character, and then between the dialogues I'll do the voice of the some narration. I plan to do the narration in extemporaneous.
The Lady Sylvanas and her Forsaken finally took vengeance upon their hated enemy, the Lich King. Their dark crusade in Northrend proved costly. Betrayed by Grand Apothecary Putrus at the Battle of Wrathgate, the Forsaken's devious plague of death was unleashed upon both the Alliance and the Horde to calamitous effect. Unbeknownst to Sylvanas, Putrus and his demonic ally, Veramathras, had taken control of the Undercity. As a result, the Forsaken were wrongly blamed for the traitor's atrocities. Though the Undercity was eventually retaken, Sylvanas and her followers still bear the weight of Putrus' sins. Mistrusted by the other members of the Horde, the Forsaken must now prove their loyalty to the cause and redeem themselves from their supposed treachery. To this end, Sylvanas has bolstered her defenses within the Tirisfal Glades and readied her undead forces for any contingency. To slay any who would pose a threat to Sylvanas' rule, be they human, undead, or otherwise.
So here we are, we're born now, we're waiting for Agatha to wake us from our slumber. I always go through and set up my UI. I'm trying to keep it as basic. Remember, we're approaching this as role players and not as what I call raiders, people who primarily do raids. This series is going to focus on the adventures of Eugerice through the lore, and we're going to be more lore-based and more role-playing based. How a role player would play World of Warcraft, and not necessarily someone who's geared for raids. So we're now getting all our tools organized. I like keeping my UI organized functionally and so forth. Where people can extrapolate things out of this, we're going to go right through the lore piece by piece and encounter people, and how you would if you played this an hour fresh out of the grave. Rise, Eugerice. Welcome back to the realm of the living. With the blessing and power of the Dark Lady, I have freed you from death's grip. You are no slave, Eugerice. You are free to follow whatever path you choose from here. If you choose to serve the Dark Lady Sylvanas, I recommend you speak with Undertaker Mordor. You will find him behind me in the graveyard. Report to Undertaker Mordor at the Death Nail Graves in Tirisfal Glades. Again, we're approaching this as a role player, so we're going to walk through this stage from point to point, and not in a hurry. We're just going out. For people who primarily play World of Warcraft through raids and stuff, they would probably find this boring. But from people who are more of the role player and adventure type, I think they would enjoy it. Fresh out of the grave. Hello there, you must be Eugerice. I'm pleased to see that you are up and walking around, Eugerice. You've held up nicely, especially after being dead for so long. Others weren't as lucky. If you wouldn't mind, I need you to fetch my embalming fluid and some twine to stitch up these bodies. You'll find both in the Shadow Grave, the building just behind me. Here, Darnell will join you. He knows the way. Obtain the thick embalming fluid and the corpse stitching twine from the Shadow Grave in Death Knell. Just gonna walk over and grab our stuff. Now this, if you are a fairly new player and never played World of Warcraft, and this mission is designed to sort of get you up to speed with the basic moving around, clicking on things, reading things, and those are the basic things you need to do to know how to play World of Warcraft. Again, we're Forsaken. I love playing Forsaken. They're my favorite. I love Sylvanas, and she's my Dark Queen. I don't care who that usurper they put on the throne. She's not the Dark Queen. She's just an imposter. But Sylvanas, I've been following Sylvanas for a very long time, all the way through, was it Warcraft 3, and I want to see her win. She's been wrong so much in this game and story that it's just sad. We got our tools. We're gonna go deliver. Remember, we're walking on stage. We're not running. Doing how it would be in real life. Also, you enjoy it.
Speak quickly.
You'll find the items within the Shadow Grave. I believe I left it there. Yeah, at my work table. Exactly what I needed. You'll be an asset to the Forsaken, Eugerice. You know, word has it that you were quite a priest in your previous life. Perhaps I should assign you to more exciting tasks. Those that couldn't be saved. The Valkyr raised hundreds of corpses every day. Agatha raised you just a few moments ago. Not all are as lucky as you, however. Some maintain their free will, but live in constant fear and confusion. They usually run off into the woods, cowering at their own reflections. Others lose their minds completely, shambling about aimlessly. They often turn to violence and must be destroyed. This is your task, Eugerice. Destroy them, our former brothers and sisters though they might be. Quest objective: kill 6 mindless zombies, and you get your choice of these stuff. Role-playing games are basically you run around and collect stuff, either by volunteer or involuntary means, usually loot. A lot of times you buy stuff. We'll knock out these zombies. We're better than zombies, those mindless undead. We're mindful undead. This is to give you a chance to get the basics of combat. You fire Now the way I set up my toolbar here, I set all the general priest stuff on the left there, and in the middle I set up my physical weaponry and so forth. And as the tray populates, I'll put everything accordingly. I put your, at the core of the game, you're a priest, right? Or combatant, soldier for that matter. And then your speciality is a priest. And so, so I populate the tray, I'll explain. The point of this story, other than to get you to walk around, is to get you to do some basic. Now we got our, I switched them around. The one on the left is mainly your dot power. It allows you to pull the target to you, and over time it'll damage the enemy. And while your smite is recharging, and then you use your staff as your support weapon to do low-level damage. All battle and role-playing games come across as two different types, whether they're melee or what's called a smite type attack and a smite type attack. The smite usually is a short, fast attack, which do a lot of damage, but because it quickly attacks, it does over time. It does a lot of damage. And then smite usually does a big booming attack, but takes some time to charge up, and then it bam does a booming attack. And that's basic to all role-playing games. In this case, our dot power is our smite power. Or actually, our dot power is our smite power. And the smite is the smite power. In this case, our smite power, it quickly damages, but it damages over time. You only have to hit the button once. And then between those two attacks, we have our staff, which is a slow weapon, but it makes contact. It does a lot of damage, but at this level, level 2, the most damage it's probably going to do is like 1 point of damage on average. So walk back, we'll turn it in.
What do you require?
Not even the power of the Valkyr was enough to save these creatures. They were doomed from the beginning. I have attained some equipment for you, Eugerice. It's not much, but it will help. Caretaker Keiichi, I am done with you. There are, however, others who could use your aid. Caretaker Keiichi, standing on the stump behind me, can probably give you another assignment. You should speak with him now. So up to this point, you know how to click on things, you know how to talk to people, you know how to go and do an objective and come back and return it. And you have some basic understanding of combat. How to at least hit the buttons. 2 types of attacks.
Time listening.
Caretaker Keiichi, yes. And who might you be? The Awakening. King, priest, peasant. I don't care what you were before. I just need somebody with a working tongue. Being raised from the dead is strenuous. Not everyone copes with it as well as you did. In particular, there are 3 newly raised undead who are having trouble coping right now. I want you to find them and talk to them. It might be that they just need someone that they can relate with. You'll find them here in the graveyard. You hear a noise going on in the background. I'm recording this during the day, and I decided with all my recordings not to worry about pristine conditions. Something always happens, and if you try to have pristine conditions, you'll just drive yourself crazy. I'm already crazy, but just burrow through, and it's just background noise. So we're gonna go over and talk to these folks, get them to kind of adjust to the undead life. See if we can reason with them. Stand back, monster. You want to fight? Because I'll fight you. I'll fight any of you creatures. Do you hear me? I am not here to fight. I've only been asked to speak with you. Oh, really? Fine. I don't want to join you and your Forsaken. Maybe I'll start my own Forsaken. Maybe I'll invent Forsaken with elbows. You are free to do whatever you like. You seem kind of hyper. A lot of anxiety. Lillian boss. She becomes important. Get away from me, you abomination. I'm not an abomination. I'm simply undead. I just want to speak with you. The undead are a taint upon Azeroth. Every one of you creature deserves to be destroyed. Lillian, do you realize that you are undead yourself?
There is much to be done.
I didn't want to hear that. It's like, screw you, screw this. I forgot to put the stopwatch up. That's how I know how much time goes by. And then I set down. I only record for about an hour, but on the first night we were recording, I wasn't quite sure how much time we were going to put in all this, so I set a time because a lot of times I record before I stream, and I like to give myself an hour to 2 hour buffer to wind down before I start streaming, because we stream from midnight to 9 a.m. Friday through Tuesday, and it's quite a schedule. What's going on? Who are you? What happened to me? Do you remember? You died. I died? Yes, you're right. I died. It was an orc. He cut off my hands and left me to die. Baldred looks down at his hands. These aren't my hands. These aren't my hands. Calm down, Baldred. Undertaker Mordo. Probably sewed some new ones on for you. I think that's actually Mordu. Mordu makes more sense. Mordo would probably be the correct Mordo. Because the infinitive would be I Mord. Baldred looks down at his hands. I suppose this is my fate then. Part of an undead army. Somehow I never considered that I might end up fighting for the Forsaken. He looks back at you. What do I do now? You talk with Undertaker Mordo? He'll tell you what to do. That's all I know. I always envisioned Forsaken to be kind of slow in their manner, where they're speaking usually slower, and her voice is probably dry because some of them don't have vocal cords, and they're rotting corpses. So I think they would have problems speaking. It would probably be difficult for them to speak when you think of it. Of the ones that still have their mouths.
And you,
The awakening. You've done well, priest. As you can see, not all of us have resigned to our fates. I'm glad to see that you are at least willing to work. Baldred will be a valuable asset to the Forsaken. As for the other two, there is not much we can do. We cannot force them to join us. That's kind of sad. Kind of sad. And this really introduces you to the new Forsaken. Beyond the graves. Darnell tells me that the two of you have already met. That's good, because I'm sending you both into death now. Your work here is done. Speak with Deathgar Sultane in Death Now to the north. He will tell you more of what you must know. And we accept. Faith, 240 silver. Gonna head on down, cruise on down. When cruising in roleplay, that means you hit the auto walk button. And when you're not using the auto walk feature, then you're on guard, like you're expecting attack, so you're on guard. Get your guard up. At least that's how I interpret it. Put my pet out. And go through and do our upkeep. We're walking. We're slowly getting some starter gear. Now 27 minutes into the adventure. Now discovered, and that sound means you discovered a new area. Part of these stories, other than teaching you how to play the game, is to help you locate all these places, and these places become important as you go further in your travel and learn to gather resources. You're slowly learning where you can get the resources from. And you need to remember that as you go further in your career. Beyond those Valkyr have been really busy resurrecting you newbies lately. I've already seen a couple dozen new bodies run down that hill since this morning. You, however, are the most promising priest I have seen today. Recruitment. We've been shipping in dead bodies from Silverpine, Hillsbrand, hell, anywhere we can get them from. We can't, however, afford to ignore the bodies which are sitting right on our front doorsteps. The last vestiges of the Scarlet Crusade roam here in Terrasfall Glades, while we've managed to push them from death now. Several of their bodies litter the buildings to the north and the east. Go find them and bring that Darnell fellow with you. He looks strong enough to carry a few corpses. Of course, we accept. Get a belt out of it. They're slowly giving you equipment. You don't really need it, but I usually get it. At least with this character. Forsaken. Believe it or not, they're very self-reliant. As a character, they don't really need much to maintain them. They're just a very weak character to begin with, but they're built to fight, right? And they don't waste a lot of energy, and they can do a lot of things that humans can't really do. Dead alarm. I don't know if it went off. Because I'm speaking through the mic, so it probably didn't look like it did. I won't know until I hear the playback. But, my alarms are set off to go at set times, and I don't like changing them because I have OCD and ADHD, and I really have to struggle to maintain my schedule. And the alarms are the tools I need to I have a lot of alarms throughout the day that for different things, and they're set on a schedule, so I don't like to change them or mute them out because I'll forget to unmute them. Then I'll be sleeping like 3-4 days, realizing time has gone by. Alright, we gathered our other stuff. We're gonna head back. Talk to our guy. I kind of like this where we're narrating it more than just reading the dialogue. With the dialogue, you just ended up with a long list of short recordings, which I don't really like that because I think it's kind of inefficient from a video point of view, because although it's efficient, you're only recording when you need it, but you end up with a lot of these tiny files and they have a tendency to get lost and bog down your system.
What would you ask?
Great work, Eugerice. I knew you weren't useless. Here, take one of these. We Death Guards have piles of these things just sitting around. A wonderful flak bill. I haven't got some money out of it. Are you still here, Eugerice? You know, I'm only a Death Guard. I don't have many tasks at hand I can hand out to passerbys like you. I recommend that you talk to Shadow Priest Sarvis. I remember he helped me get on my feet after I was plucked out of the tomb. I'm sure he'll do the same for you. You'll find him just inside the chapel, here on the west side of town. This is kind of fun. You sit back watching your adventures and then reading the dialogue and sort of commenting on it. I find it, this in itself is kind of therapeutic. So we're going to start organizing our bags and stuff once we get enough stuff to organize. That little travel thing, it's hard to organize. It's the only thing in the bag. I liked in the when they made the Warcraft movie. It was based on Warcraft, the game, and World of Warcraft hadn't happened yet. Greetings, Eugerice. I see you wield a weapon. Can you fight? Of course we can, dude. We just killed all those dudes outside. I'm a priest, not a warrior. If you're going to be an asset to the Forsaken, you need to learn how to fight. And there's no better target than the Scourge minions that continue to pester us. The wretched ghouls and rattle-caged skeletons that roam the north and to the east are former troopers of the fallen Scourge. They should prove to be an even match for a fledgling priest like you. Do not tarry. When you are done, speak to me again. Someone from New England wrote that. They like those tarry words. Like, who says tarry? I mean, people had to look that up. Like, damn it, I need to buy a dictionary to play this game. I believe I went to the right first. Not that I had to, but I was thinking of buying something, and then I went in the building and changed my mind. But now actually we're going out to knock these guys out. You know, when you go to this area, you're kind of extending your range, so it's not in a confined area. They're expanding your play yard and kind of letting you roam without worrying about getting ganked. Now, my history in World of Warcraft, I primarily play a warlock. And why I wanted to play a priest is I've always wanted to play a priest and I never got around to it. And so we were going to make the story sort of have a roleplay narration to it. Told in a narration, but presented in a roleplay way. I just bought the Shadowlands stuff, and I hadn't started playing the story part because I hadn't finished the previous expansion. And they were consolidating the power structure, and I really didn't know how that affected my character, so rather than wreck that character, I decided to go ahead and make a priest. And then that way I would remember what I was doing last and kind of see how I needed to adjust my work. At some point in the future, I'm going to reintroduce my warlock to the story, but as far as doing these episodes, I want to do these episodes in sequence, so you're discovering it through the story, and then we're going to work our way to the Shadowlands. It's going to take us a long time to get there, but by the time we get there, all the bugs and stuff will be worked out, and all the problems and balancing issues will be resolved. One of the best things about being a role player in the game is that by the time you get to a lot of the content, all the problems tend to have already been resolved. Usually the people that do raids, they encounter all the problems initially because they're hurriedly running through the game. They're not really paying attention to lore, so they figure out all those problems first, so that us who are following the lore, following the adventure, reading everything in the game, we have a better experience. That's how the game works. Okay, so we did our job. We're going to go back and turn in our stuff. And this is how you kind of do it as a role player. You do one mission at a time, then you go back, turn it. You can do it in groups, but you normally work with one guy, do their stuff, and then you go back and do more adventures. And the way role-playing games are designed is they're designed to be played an hour out of the day, so that you sort of, it's like watching television, but you're interacting with the television. And so we're going to go through the story from the beginning and go story by story, adventure by adventure, and then slowly, the bottom bar there is our, where it says Undercity, that's our reputation we're building, our experience and reputation. And we are trying to build a good reputation with the Forsaken. And then the Forsaken currently are with the Horde. You're growing in strength, Eugerice. I've seen your type before. You will be moving out of Death now and on to greater things before long. Just make sure you don't lose sight of where you started. You have much to accomplish, priest. Why don't you go speak with my novice, Elreth? She serves me and will have some tasks to which you can apply your new abilities. New stuff in. Now we'll organize our thing here. I like to get bags really early in the game. I start with the 6 bag and then I slowly upgrade them to 8. And a lot of times in the early missions they drop, and that's always great. It doesn't always happen. At this point you need to be getting your generic priest abilities. Your role is a priest, and then as we move through closer to level 10, we'll move to our specialities, and then but I always put them on the left side of the tray. Earlier on, I saw a young forsaken woman running around the old inn. She was screaming for her life, pleading to be taken back home. Not all of us are as resolute as others, Eugerice. Even so, we must accept our fate as undead if we are to rise up against those that would put us down. Take my hand mirror and show it to that young woman. She needs to see what she really is and join us in our cause. Besides, we can use all the bodies that we can get. So the game is designed so that you take it in stride, an hour out of the day, and then you go on and do something else. In the early days, I'd play this like hours on end, and I've learned not to do that anymore. It's not really a healthy way to play a game. You see people who are like, they play 8, 9, 10 hours, and then they sort of have a meltdown at some point. It's because they don't know how to take things in clusters and chunks and in a healthy way. You're playing any game and you're at a point where you're like frustrated and raving mad ravenous, you need to really reevaluate how you play games, because the game at the core is an activity, not a competition. It's not a sport. And I'm not against like raiders, and I think people that do that, I love watching them play. I like that they enjoy the game. They take on it from a sporting point of view. They take it serious on that level, but at the same time they can laugh and joke. But I see the game more as just an activity and something that you do every night that you can enjoy with yourself, enjoy with some friends. And now sometimes Lillian Boss is weird because sometimes she'll be down here. Usually when I walk over here, she's upstairs, and when I go straight upstairs, she's over here on the first floor. So the computer likes to fake me out all the time. That's how you do it. So I walked back to make sure I wasn't having an illusion, mirage. Maybe I missed her, but she's upstairs this time. Get away from me, you monster. Don't look at me, I'm hideous. You're not hideous, Lillian. You're one of us. Here, look in the mirror. See for yourself.
Do not linger.
She seemed a little upset. She's gonna need time to soak it all in. But these games aren't meant to I mean, if you want to play a 12 hour, I guess you can. I did it, but it's not healthy. They're designed to take it an hour out of hand, and when the new material comes out, if you play it like an hour out of the day, it'll take you months to go through the content, and it gives them time to make new content. You have 3 years to go through the content. You know, why rush through it in like the first 2 days that the thing's been out, right? I'm more of a take your time and enjoy the experience. So now they're giving us food. There's 2 types of food. You have a drink, which gives mana, and then the other, which gives health. And for since our character is a healer, we'll heal ourselves. But I try to use the food as much as I can, and to take breaks in the game. So I set one bag up there for our consumables, and another bag up there for equipment, and then the third bag I'm going to set for trade. So as we get to the other area, probably in the next video, we'll set that last bag up for traded goods. 2 bags actually. I planning to be an alchemist and a herbalist, so one of the bags I like to keep for herbs. One of the things I liked with classic WoW was that You had like with the warlock, you had a bag for the soul stones and stuff, shards.
I haven't got
You say she ran away? What a shame. Very well. As long as she's maintained her free will, there's still hope. I like this kind of stuff where you're just sitting around goofing and reading the game and then just enjoying it. Not in a hurry and run. Like, I can keep you busy here in town all week, but you seem to be more the fighting type. Elrith looks you over and nods. Yes, you'll do just fine. I'd like you to go talk to Executor Aaron. Follow the path north out of Deathknell. You'll find him not far past the barricades. So I think I feel that for me, I like taking it slow. I get that people like playing in a hurry because they're young, they want to do everything in a hurry, but I don't really understand that style of play. I know people do it, but I can't play World of Warcraft that way. I have to play it slow and take my time and really enjoy it, get into it. And I'm really enjoying a Shadow Priest. I've only played Warlock, mainly Demon Warlock, Demonologist. I love Demonologist. It's such an awesome, and I play the other two Warlocks just to know what they do. And I wouldn't say expert in them, but I know what they do. And through experience and training. But now as a role player, you're pretty much gonna do everything that everyone else is doing that are primarily like raiders. But if you go the mystic key route, the most you'll probably ever do raids are like the green stuff, which is fine. Your gear is more for out of you just want to collect it. But you'll probably never have a big eye level, but you don't really need it because you're never gonna do the high-end combat. So you could do it out of like a sport, but for the most part, you don't really need to do it as a role player. That's been my experience. The problem is when you go do raids, you always run into someone who's like new to raiding, and they turn it into like this. You're playing the regular raid because you have to as part of the story lore, but they're treating it like it's a Mythic 20 raid, like you're in a... First of all, look at your armor. You're a mess priest. If you like to stay in one piece, and I doubt you do, perhaps I can help you if you can gather some paws and wings from the wolves and bats nearby. Maybe I'll find some armor for you. You'll find the creatures to the north and to the west of here. Just a scavenging, foraging mission, basically. And then we're gonna get some bracers out of it. But a lot of people that are like that are kind of silly. And then they just... I think they ruin the game. You're in there just trying to have fun, and then they're taking it like it's the most serious thing since peanut butter was invented for bread, you know. It's just peanut butter, man. Of course, everybody knows Skippy peanut butter is the best peanut butter. Better than chunky Skippy or even chunkier Skippy. People are flipping out, walking off the video, hitting a dislike button now. I love Jiffy. I love Jiffy, man. Peter Pan is the best. Alright. Just gonna go out and get some, forage some material for this guy. We're up to 50 minutes, so we're almost done. Again, these episodes are only going to be about an hour long, and then read as much of the dialogue. We're going to read every dialogue in character, and then between those moments, we'll do our extemporaneous speaking, and it's fun. If you'd like to leave a comment, feel free. I'm kind of laid back. We've been producing a lot of YouTube videos through all the different games I play, and it's because if you only play an hour out of the day, and we stream 9 hours 5 days a week, so I do all the recordings on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and because they're broken down into about an hour, it takes an hour to sit through the video and do the dialogue, and then you gotta listen to it, and then put all the graphics in, and then it takes 4 hours. At 720 HD, it takes about 4 hours to process each glitch, which I usually do before I go to bed. I run one video and process it, and then I upload everything on Fridays, and then I usually upload everything to Patreon first for the first week, and the second week it goes to YouTube publicly. So I've been trying to get everything down on Friday as our main release date. That way they're out for the weekend, and then Patreon first, YouTube the second week, and so forth. I made a bunch of Farm Simulator videos, which I produced and released the first week to the public, just to get new videos out for 2021. But moving forward with this series, I'm gonna play it later. I think it can help people if you're new to World of Warcraft, but it's not really designed for if you intend to be like a raid, what I call raiders type of player. We're not really that. We're more of a role player, adventure type of player. And that's what we're geared for. That's what these are about. And I think if you want to try to find out how to do stuff, you can kind of get that out of what we're doing. I like making longer videos where you see all the interaction with the character. And this is really the first time I'm really playing I made a couple of them, but I've never really... I made one in Classic, but never really went far, because I always go back to Warlock. This is really experiencing this. I've always been a Forsaken, but experiencing it through Priest is kind of a interesting experience for me. At this point in the story, she hasn't decided to be a holy priest, but that's what she ultimately is going to be. Because that's the name of the story. We're back. It's probably going to be the last one we do for the evening. Part of what we're demonstrating here is that you can take the game at a slow pace. I call walking pace. And it's very enjoyable. Do try your best to keep yourself unharmed until I get you some armor. Thank you, Eugerice. This armor should help you out. Hopefully, it should do you more good than the last one who wore it. Or to wear it. Undead joke. One of our greatest struggles is obtaining the natural resources we need to survive. Gold was scarce in Lordaeron, even in the height of the Alliance's power so many years ago. This is a gold mine. There is a gold mine to the west that has been overrun with spiders. We need gold from the mine, but we can't very well get it while the spiders are crawling around in there. I've not much manpower to commit to the task, so we'll just have to do it little by little. Get up there and see what you can do for us, Eugerice. I am trying to demonstrate that you can play the game at a slow pace, enjoy, have fun with the dialogue, and if we find people along the way that like that kind of stuff, that'll be cool. I don't really join guilds anymore, and that happened through Star Wars Galaxy, and I stopped. I only pretty much make guilds or stuff for my own purposes. I don't try to join other people's guilds, because a lot of guilds you go into, a lot of these guys are like 14, 15-year-olds, and they don't have any kind of schedule whatsoever, and so they want to, like, if you don't show up, you're fired, basically. Like 2 days. I was playing Raid, and their guild was like that. If we don't hear from you in 3 days, you're out. So I quit. Like, whatever. The game's not that important. And then, not a job. And I think they ruin it. I like taking my time in Raid and going up slowly. I don't really want to play on someone else's pace. And that's never fun. And, a lot of the times when I make a guild, the people in the guild are laid back, and I don't like force them to play. I have one guy in our one guild. He hasn't logged in like 4 years, but he logs in every now and then, so I don't get rid of him. Star Trek Online is the same way. I don't throw people out of the guild. If they're there having fun, and I think people like that. If you join a guild and you're not very active, but you whenever you log in, they're friendly, and all your stuff is still there. I think that's good. I think that's what people want. It's a social network, not a job. And hopefully moving forward, I'm hoping that these videos allow us to interact with a larger audience. The people that can't hang out on the streams. We can't stream World of Warcraft right now because my PC can't. I can't stream and play it at the same time. All our PC games, I can only do one or the other. So on our streams, we're primarily doing our PS4 games. With our PC games, we have to record them and then sit down and do a voiceover. And then all through last year, I kind of got it that we should keep everything in a 720 high definition format. That's what the computer is balanced for. That's what the PlayStation records in. And when you put it up on YouTube, it generally goes up a little faster. I don't really see much difference in quality from the 720. 1080 is a much better resolution, definitely. Certainly wider definition, but I think 720 is fine. And for what our capabilities are, I think it'll allow us to reach a larger audience through the games we play and get our adventures out there. That's what we're hoping. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy our activities. Got some closing out stuff coming up. But again, I'm Agamemnon, and I hope you'll come back for part 2 of this. And we'll see you there. Today's episode was made part by our Patreon donators who donate their real world money so we can do what we do. Remember to hit the like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to hit that notification bell and you'll be notified when we're releasing new videos. We're releasing new videos hopefully every Friday. And this was the Forsaken Adventures of Eugerice the Priest, a World of Warcraft tale. Enjoy your day. I'm Agamemnon, and goodbye.